Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Texas Road. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where this morning I'm joined by Rod Babers and Jeff Howe, Jerry and Bobby. They're just not able to make it today. Bobby on the road. Jerry, of course, not feeling good, so hopefully he gets to feeling better soon. But tell us where you're checking in from this morning, what you're drinking, get your questions in. We're going to get to those. We got a lot to talk about. And fellas, I'm actually going to let Sark open the show for us here. He had quite a bit to say about A&M yesterday in his press conference, and I'm going to play all that clip.
Should be a great ball game. You know, when you think about this as a 120th meeting between Texas and Texas A&M and the Cotton Holdings Lone Star Showdown, and it's awesome. You know, it was great to play them last year and renewing the rivalry and going to Kyle Field, and now to have A&M back here in DKR for the first time since 2010. 15 years ago was the last time they were here. I think is great for the rivalry. I know our fans are excited about it. I'm sure their fans are excited about it, but I know our players are too. It's a heck of a challenge. It's a really good football team, and they're really good in all three phases. Defensively, the numbers are pretty startling. When you look at the third down defense, the sacks, the tackles for loss, you look at the explosive play ability that they have on offense with Marcel Reed, the variety of runners, and then obviously the receiving core with Concepcion and Craver leading the way. But then they got a lot of really good receivers that are making plays. The tight ends are making plays. And then on special teams, they got electric return game with Bussy and Concepcion and kickoff and punt return. So ton of credit to A&M and the job they've done to be undefeated up to this point. I think Coach Elko's done a fantastic job. Got a ton of respect for him and the way he's built that program. But that creates opportunity for us, and wouldn't want it any other way than to have this ball game at home. Like I said, Friday night after Thanksgiving, I can remember being a kid in California watching this game. It was the only game on Thanksgiving, and to be part of it is pretty special. And it was special a year ago. It's special again this year. I don't take games like this lightly. So. Like I said, we got some work to do. Obviously, a little bit more of a challenging week with it being a short week. So we've got to be really efficient with our preparation and our time, not only in the meeting room but on the practice field, to make sure that we're mentally and physically ready to play, to put our best foot forward against a top 3 team in the country.
So there you go. One of his longer opening statements of the season.
Yeah. I'm a little jealous, man. Honestly, I feel him on that. I mean, it is a great opportunity. You talk about this is one of the most now because of what the Aggies have done. Congrats to the Aggies coming in undefeated. We can talk about who they played and all that a little bit later on. But being undefeated is still an accomplishment. I don't give a damn who you're playing and what your schedule looks like, guys. To go unscathed through the SEC that's impressive. But because of that, I mean, we haven't had a more anticipated Texas A&M game in modern history, arguably. I know last year was really cool, but this year, even more on the line potentially for both squads. So for the second year in a row, Texas A&M bigger than Texas OU, and that's strange because in my time, Texas OU was always the bigger rivalry and always more on the line. So I think that's kind of more of a it's got to be more an acknowledgement than what the Aggies have done, because to keep up their end of the bargain, because now this rivalry it has national implications, not just regional and state implications.
I love this game. I know Mac Brown used to say it this way, Rod, and I believe it. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I was in my formative years and just clung on to a lot of stuff Mac said. But I've really come to believe and feel like this game, it should be big, because to me this game is the Texas OU. It's the blood feud, right? Texas A&M to me is a showcase. When it's at its best, it should be a showcase of football in the state of Texas. The very best high school players in the state going to one school or the other. It's the two biggest brands, and there haven't been that many times where these two teams have been ranked and there's been this much on the line, and it's been back-to-back years. This is 2 years in a row now. Texas joining the SEC, where college football playoff implications, SEC championship implications are on the line in this game. And, one team from this game 2 years in a row will be, A&M's a lock for the playoff at this point.
Yeah. No doubt.
2 years in a row, this game will include one of these two teams will be in the college football playoff. And I dig that. I love that about this rivalry. And I think Sark and Elko, it's not pressure. I think it's just a respect for it's a respect for the high stakes nature of this rivalry. I mean, both know how important this is to the fan bases, and I think you saw that reflected. Right? I don't know if you had a chance to watch Mike Elko's press conference, but there wasn't both press conferences were both head coaches. There wasn't a lot of coach speak. There wasn't a ton of elaborate answers. It was more of a situation where it's like, hey, I would rather be in the film room or doing anything except talking to a room full of you people. So let me get back to the office. So
short week though. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, in my lifetime, there haven't been that many times where the game has had as much writing on it as it has the last 2 years. And I love that about this rivalry.
There's only been one time in the history of the rivalry where both teams had double-digit records in the same season. That'll change soon at one point. But I love this fact here from Texas, from Bob Ballou. Shout out to Bob Ballou. Texas A&M game will mark just the 12th time both teams are ranked when facing each other out of 120 games. Wow. Texas 8-3 in those matchups. It's the 6th time the Aggies arrive in Austin ranked in the top 10. Last time was 1998. Y'all know how that went. Run, Ricky, run, baby.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I'm with you, Rod. I'll echo it. You may not like how A&M got to 11-0, but I think you have to respect it because I said it all off season, and I'm not going to go back on my word now. If you go undefeated in the SEC in the year of our Lord 2025, I don't care who you played, you accomplished something. So I'll respect the fact that A&M is 11-0 and their comeback against South Carolina. That said, though, if you're a Texas fan, if you're just looking at the records thinking, oh, how are we going to beat the Aggies? Oh, it's been a minute since A&M has seen an offense that can push the ball down the field and can move it the way Texas can with a quarterback that's playing at the level with Arch Manning is playing right now. So that, to me, is the challenge for A&M is when you see, quarterback play, assuming Arch can continue to take the steps forward, Rod, that we've seen him make. Can you adjust to that? Can you adjust to the speed of the receivers? Can you adjust to all the eye candy in Sark's offense? Because, that Notre Dame game, which was probably the last time A&M saw an offense of this caliber, that was early to mid-September. So it's been a minute since they've seen an offense like this.
Well, we're going to talk some more A&M in just a moment. But first, guys, I need to tell everyone about our sponsor today. That's Texas Road. Our friend Rick Vavro and the guys at Texas Road, they're your full-service solution for major road projects with the full support of multiple crews performing utility, dirt work, concrete, and asphalt. Texas Road provides on-site concrete through volumetric trucks for smaller volumes, and they're able to complete road building in a high-profile environment. Give Rick Vavro and the guys at Texas Road a call or check them out online, texas-road.com. And I put this together this morning, fellas, a little quarterback comparison here. As you can see, both the completion percentage pretty close to each other. Manning at 62.5, Reed at 61.8. Yardage very close as well. 2,760 for Manning, 2,752 for Reed. Touchdowns, 23 for Manning, 25 for Reed. Interceptions very close as well. 7 for Manning, 8 for Reed. The rushing yardage is where it gets a little bit different. 191 for Manning, 395 for Reed, and then 7 rushing touchdowns and 6 for Reed. Those 7, of course, for Manning. Y'all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Arch, obviously, in my opinion, and I'm not going to say Arch's numbers are more impressive or anything like that, but to put it into context, Texas offensive line, 115th, I believe, something like that in pressure rate allowed. A&M has a better offensive line, and it's not even close. And there's no argument to be made either. Looking at productivity, A&M has a better receiving core as well. In terms of the productivity overall with Concepcion and Craver. So, and running backs. I mean, say running backs are better too. I mean, so the pieces around Marcel Reed are better than the pieces around Arch. But both of the seasons have been impressive. But Arch, to me, since I've been watching him, I'm a little bit biased because I've seen his development and growth. He does not have the support. He does have a better offensive play caller. And I think probably is a better offensive scheme overall than what Marcel Reed's playing in. But Marcel Reed's got, have we seen skill positions this scary for the Aggies? When's the last time we've seen the skill positions this scary? I mean, Johnny had some. He had Mike Evans around him, but Concepcion and Craver and the backfield. Oh, Jeff, I think you muted.
Josie. If you had me in the pot versus me and Blake, who's going to be muted this morning, I hope you had me. Honestly, Rod, like I would probably think like maybe back when you were in school with Robert Ferguson and Bethel Johnson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, that was probably, you had Jamar Toombs, Tiki Hardeman. Like that was probably the last time, honestly, we've seen A&M have, maybe they didn't have maybe a guy that was on the level of Mike Evans, but to your point, they had several guys that were very, very good.
NFL caliber guys. Yeah. I just don't remember the skill positions being this scary. No. Yeah, Bethel Johnson could go now. I think Bethel ran like a 4.2 or like a low 4.3.
Yeah. Robert Mickey Jones was in there. I mean, they had some guys that could go.
Yeah. So that's a good comparison. I actually didn't realize they were that close. You got to give Marcel Reed, give him credit because they've been winning games and winning a lot of different ways. But like I said, Arch has done it. He's done comparable things with less talent around him. There's no doubt, or less productivity around him.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Blake, Cass asks, is Moss healthy? Elko addressed this yesterday. So based on what he said, again, unless he's just playing coy, doesn't sound like they'll have Le'Veon Moss for this game. Ooh. Did indicate, though, they will have Reuben Owens back, though. He said Reuben Owens and Mario Craver. I think he said awesome was the description he used for how those guys are doing physically after they got banged up against South Carolina. So, so they will have Ashton Bethel-Roman was back because he got banged up against South Carolina, too. He was back against Samford. Again, and the good thing with the Samford game is, Marcel Reed was out, early second quarter. Like he didn't play very much. So I think A&M played 4 different quarterbacks, Rod, against Samford. So they got to roll in some young cats, give their starters a break. So again, fortunate stroke of luck for A&M on the schedule. But so probably not Le'Veon Moss, but they should have Reuben Owens and Mario Craver back.
We got a super chat this morning from Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Carey, as always, he says UNT, SMU, Tech, and Aggie, they're going to make the college football playoff.
The last two at this point, I mean, unless Texas Tech loses the Big 12 championship game, because then I think at that point, then you're talking 2-loss Tech, 2-loss Alabama. I think it may get dicey for Tech at that point. Then you're comparing Tech to maybe a 2-loss Miami. So I think Texas Tech still needs to win the Big 12 to feel great about it. As far as the first two, I don't know, Blake, you may have a better idea of this than I do. SMU seems to still have kind of a convoluted path to get into the ACC championship game a little bit. Like they need to win and need some help. And then Rod, I don't know, somebody in the G5 at some point, somebody has to want to get into this thing. It's like every time somebody emerges as a front runner for that G5 spot,
it's knocked off
or something else. So
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. No, I think Tech's in. I think Tech's a better team. I mean, they'll win the Big 12 in my opinion. And the Big 12 will get their one in. The Aggies are in no matter what. I would just say this about North Texas though. Eric Morris. I mean, I know there's the coaching carousel. You're starting to see some, slow down a little bit because whenever Lane Kiffin gets to his spot, you'll start to see more clarity. Who's going to hire Eric Morris? Isn't it about time for somebody to hire that dude for him to upgrade?
Here's my thing on that. As I thought about this too.
He's been there for a little while now, though.
Yeah, and I thought about it in relation to the Arkansas job, right? Because Arkansas seems to be a place where like you would hire Eric Morris, right? Like he's not that far down the road. He's at UNC, he has the state of Texas. But if I'm Eric Morris, is Arkansas really the job I want? Like I don't, it's not, especially in a 16-team SEC. Is Arkansas in the top half of jobs in the conference?
Everybody wants Arkansas to do what Tech did because they got money. There's money there. We know it's money in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. We know what the money is. Walmart money there, Tyson money there. They got money there, but for some reason maybe it's in basketball now. Like I have no idea why football why they can't just have a couple of sugar daddies or sugar mamas, whatever. Like, and Tech's got one in Cody Campbell, and pool together enough resources to say, no, we can compete. We can go, get enough players to be able to compete in the SEC. I'm not sure. But you're right. That's a great point that you made about that.
Yeah, the Wally World money and the chicken money apparently is all going to Cal, and it's not going to food.
He ain't willing to share none of that chicken money. Come on, man. That's a lot of chicken money out there.
I didn't think we'd be talking this morning about how big chicken is in the pocket of John Calipari, but here we are.
Big chicken money.
Oh man! All right. Well,
I feel like we're in the middle of a Chappelle skit from back in the day. Do it for free, chicken.
There's a Seinfeld skit about that too, I believe. Actually, about the chicken.
Well, it is Tuesday, which means it is time for our weekly guest, Coach Bob Shipley. Good morning, Bob. How's it going?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing this morning?
Doing great, Coach.
Hey, Coach, I got a question. At Casa de Shipley for Thanksgiving, we going like, you just going to like Walmart or something and getting the turkey, or you going old school and hunting one down and putting that bird in the oven?
Nope. Store bought. Man, I tell you what, yeah. As I've gotten older, I grew up loving to hunt. My boys love to hunt. My grandsons love to hunt. But, when you get 65, man, you got to mess with them, after you shoot them, and you got to get all them feathers. And then what you've got is about the breast the size of a Cornish hen, when it's all said and done, if you're getting a wild turkey. Now my turkey is organic, and my wife will cook it. And then going down to burn it, and Mama Ship's going to have the feast for everybody. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's going to be great.
Nice.
Back-to-back days, baby.
Hey, Coach, yesterday you was real optimistic, man. Not even optimistic. I'm going to say straight up confident that Texas is going to put it on the Aggies. That you feel like Texas, this is a good matchup for Texas, basically. Bad matchup.
I was until y'all started talking about the matchups and how they have the better offensive line. The quarterback stats are the same. The running backs, no question, they're better. The receivers, no doubt, they're better. The defensive line is better. Whatever. I mean, now I'm like going, man, what was I on yesterday? I do believe it's a good matchup. But I just think for what's at stake, the history of this rivalry, the way that Texas seems to more times than not snatch what seems so obvious for the Aggies, and so I mean, what Ricky was a great example. He didn't just set the record; he set it against a ranked Aggie team, right? You know what I'm saying? It just seems to work out that way. It just seems to be that kind of year where things haven't gone our way. They've done an incredible job. I'm telling you what, I'm a believer in Elko. I wasn't. And I've said this all week. Marcel Reed is the most improved college football player from the 24 season in my mind, So yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm sure hoping that Anthony Hill gets to play. I think he's the difference maker. Without him, I don't know that we have that momentum, but we obviously are going to have to overcome a lot of things, deficits in talent and skill, I think, at the receiver and running back position. But I'll take Arch Manning every day. I'm like you, Rod. Been watching him all year, been watching him progress. And although I think Marcel Reed is an excellent quarterback, like I said, I think he's the most improved player in college football. But I just think Arch wins this matchup. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to do it.
No.
You look at position by position, and I'm going, okay, how are we going to do this? But it's just going to happen. I can't explain it. I hadn't been to the future and back. But I just can't explain it. But I feel like it's going to happen.
I like what you said about they kind of have the Aggies number. That's why they refer to him as little brother. That stuff is real. Like, I don't know how Texas always had Nebraska's number, but Texas would end up playing well and beat Nebraska. Something had no business doing it. B says I like the logo.
It's a perfect example. I don't know how the Cowboys did it.
They 21-7.
I don't know.
But they play
just does.
It's a division thing though, because they're familiar. They know the Eagles really well, better than most. So, and they're not necessarily intimidated by them. That's a good one. And they're at home. They were at home. You've been at home too. The Longhorns are at home.
Yep.
That's big.
Yeah. How do the fuel injectors work on a Hardy carburetor? I don't know. They just do. That's kind of a sign. I mean, that's kind of a joke that was told on Joe Dirt when we went and found his dad.
on a Plymouth work. It just
does. I don't know.
Hey, Coach, actually, I wanted to get to something Lee Barden mentions in a super chat. And Lee, thank you for the super chat. So, would it make sense to employ the same coverage Texas did against Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith, on Concepcion? Thoughts? Hook 'em horn so Gabriel blows his horn. Coach, that's one of the things I always think about in a game like this. When you look at the multifaceted way A&M can attack you, if you could be in that meeting room with PK or get inside his head, where are you deploying resources? Because you can't cover everything. So what's top of the list for you to take away?
Well, Rod actually can answer this question a lot better than I can. We talked about it last night on the live show. I think first of all, yes, I think we should use a similar concept what we used against Ohio State. But do we have the guys to man up? And if you do man them up, the answer is no. I don't know that you can confidently go out there and put freshmen on that receiving room. But so you've got to have help over the top. And when you have help over the top, now you've got guys with their backs turned running with receivers, and somebody breaks through, you're not going to have the support at the second level, running the ball. What I think they should mix it up. I think they should keep A&M off balance and as much as possible disguise our coverages. I haven't seen that much. Have you, Rod? Have you seen us disguising coverages much this season?
They move the safeties around a lot, but in terms of not really drastic shifts. So you don't see them do that very often.
Yeah, I mean, like pressing and then backing off a little bit, or backing off and then right before the ball snap, they move up.
So not a lot, but some of that.
Yeah,
not a lot.
But I just think you try to disguise your coverages as much as you can. That doesn't obviously put your players in a bad position to make the play or to be able to run the coverage it's called. But as much as you can, disguise the coverage, mix them up, or it's going to be the same old. But I do think we made a step in the right direction against Arkansas.
They played more man against Arkansas, and I think they weren't scared of Arkansas receivers. No need to be. Right? Arkansas receivers really, in my opinion, they weren't going to present any real problems for Texas in terms of one-on-one matchups on the outside. So Texas played more press, and they played a little bit more man. I don't see them. I'm with Coach on that. I don't want a young Cade Phillips as a freshman left on an island too much. You still got a freshman. There's a youth movement happening in the secondary. It's good because these young bucks are playing well. All right. And they're making plays on the football. What was my big complaint? You can get beat. Go make some plays on the football. Cade Phillips, Grayson Littleton, guys are making plays on the football. Even Jonah Williams had his career high already in snaps versus Arkansas. So there's a youth movement happening. If a lot of those young guys are going to continue to play, I'm with Coach. I don't necessarily want them on islands with maybe one of the best wide receiving duos in college football outside of Ohio State. I mean, that's what this A&M group is in that conversation. Situationally, I think you can do that, especially when you get down the red zone, and maybe situationally on some third downs and critical downs. Maybe you want to do that because you want to really try to light Marcel Reed up. I get that, but for the most part, I think Texas is going to stick with their bread and butter, which is a lot of zone, and they're going to play with a cushion. Doesn't mean you can't be close to the catch point. They play with cushion, but they were a little bit more aggressive than they were against Arkansas than they were in previous games. So listen, these guys, these receivers, the thing I really love about, or also love, but kind of gives me anxiety about the receiving core and Concepcion, contested catches. He's really good in contested catch because he's a bigger receiver. And if you go look at his partner Craver, third in yards per route run in the country right now. He's actually the one that scares me a little bit more than Concepcion. Craver is twitchier than Concepcion. His yards after he's averaging over 10 yards after the catch per reception right now.
That's pretty
wow.
Like he's averaging 10 yards. He's averaging 12 yards per target. Like every time they target him, it's 12 yards. Like Craver's the one that scares me. Concepcion, he's big. He's got more touchdowns. He's got 9 touchdowns, so he's the touchdown guy. But in terms of big plays, Craver is a big play waiting to happen. especially at the second level where Texas is having some issues with crossing routes and at the linebacker depth with linebacker sinking. You got two of your line, maybe we'll see with Anthony Hill, but maybe two of your linebackers out. That's the guy that kind of worries me more than Concepcion in the secondary, because Concepcion, like I said, I think Texas has faced receivers kind of like that. He's a different beast. They face bigger receivers, right? Big body. Ohio State's got bigger body guys. That was the kid from Florida, big kid, big. I think they at least have seen those kind of guys. They ain't seen a lot of guys like Craven.
Mississippi State is probably the closest thing they've seen with Anthony Evans and Brendan Thompson.
And how did that go?
Not very good.
Okay. Exactly. Those guys, man, the big guys. I can trust Mr. DB. Easier to cover some of those big guys, bigger targets. They won't run away from you. They're not as quick as they are fast. Those twitchy guys like Craver, man, they can be hell on the secondary, especially when you're trying to match up one-on-ones.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened, Rod. I don't know if anybody stayed up late like I did to watch the Texas Arizona State game. It's kind of one of those deals. Like, hey, if you're playing bigger guards, maybe you got some size that can match up. But man, you get guys like Mo Odom and Pick Johnson, the smaller guys that are quick that you can't stay in front of. They pose a problem to you. So yeah, sorry, didn't mean to pour salt in the wound this morning talking about that basketball game last night, but such is life. Coach, have you where are you at on the run game? Because when you and CJ and I did our grade show over the weekend, I think all three of us kind of came to the consensus like, hey, the run game, it is what it is. What are you realistically expecting from the run game against A&M? An A&M defense, I know we've said this before, it's an A&M defense that's given up some yards against the run this year, but that hasn't translated for the Texas run game in some of these games.
It's just it's a strange bird. It really is. I mean, we didn't run the ball bad against Ohio State. We ran the ball good. Oklahoma, we ran. I don't understand. And then you look at the lesser teams we played, and I mean they're moving the line of scrimmage on us the wrong way. And so I don't know. I don't know the answer. I just feel like that little mojo in the air Saturday or Friday evening is going to create some holes. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to happen. And I don't know the best schemes to run against A&M, but I just feel like that we're not going to, I don't know that we can rush for 100 yards. I hope we can, but I just feel like things are going to click. I feel like whether it's the play calling, keeping them off balance, keeping them guessing, whatever, but I have faith that it's going to happen, but I can't base that on any facts, as we all know, or we'd be bumbling idiots.
I feel good about the coaching. Listen, if Sark can win the coaching battle, he's got to out-coach Elko, period. Like, you got to win that coaching advantage, and you got to win the quarterback battle. You would do that, you win the game, and the turnover battle. If you go look at the close games they played, what, 4 kind of close games so far this season where they've been within one score, somewhere around there, and they haven't won the turnover margin in any of those games. They didn't lose them all in those games. I think some of them they end up tied, but they never won the turnover margin. And Texas is actually one of the best turnover margin teams in the country. Mm-hmm. Texas takes care of the football, and finally is taking the football away at a higher rate now, especially against Arkansas. They got to win the turnover margin. Got to find a way to win it. That's big in this game. And every now and then, Marcel Reed will make some ill-advised decisions. I think he's got 8 picks and 4 fumbles on the season. You got to find a way to win that, and you got to win the explosive play margin. You go look at the games where they played close games. Notre Dame got a lot of explosive plays on them, especially in the passing game. Arkansas got a ton of explosive plays on them. So did South Carolina. The only team that really played them close that didn't get a lot of explosive plays was probably Auburn. And Auburn's offense is terrible. Their offensive line is terrible, but their defense is legit. They got a legit defense that kind of keeps them in every game. And the Aggies just had one of those bad days. It's an ugly day offensively, but most of it's because Auburn is a good team. So you go look at the games they played tight. You got to win the turnover margin. You got to win the explosive play margin. You got to find a way to generate explosive plays against that group. I looked at the 30. They've allowed 32, I think, explosive pass plays in the season. That's 20-plus yard pass plays. And over half of them came in those one-score wins. That's the key. you gotta find a way to do it. And Sark's good at that.
Yep.
And Arch is good at that.
I'll give you guys another stat, Rod. Stuff rate is one of those metrics that I'd like to look at a lot. And this is where I am with the Texas run game. So I went back and looked at it. Basically, stuff rate is the percentage of your non-sack rushing attempts that are either stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage. Your 3 lowest stuff rates this year, and Coach, I'll actually go with you. Yeah, I'll go your 3 lowest and your 4 highest, because Coach, this shows you kind of the anomaly with the Texas run game. Arkansas, you were at 15% stuff rate allowed. Vanderbilt, 12%. Ohio State, 5%. So you actually, and the Ohio State game plan was a little bit different what they were doing defensively, but you gave yourself a chance with the way you were running the ball against Ohio State. Your 3 worst stuff rates, or actually your 4 highest stuff rates this year, 40% against Florida, 30% against Kentucky, 29% against Georgia, and then 23% against Oklahoma. But what the Oklahoma number tells me is this, and it's the difference between how Sark called the OU game and how he called the Georgia game. And I've seen some stuff in the chat how Sark handles rivalry games, and I agree. I love the way he's handled the OU game in his career for the most part.
Yeah.
He's what 2-1 I think at this point against Arkansas. So this is the difference. So he was patient against Oklahoma. Like, no, we know we can. We feel like we can physical them. We know we need physicality to win this game. And there was a point in the second half where they started leaning on Oklahoma a little bit, and he kind of admitted it against Georgia when he felt like, especially with the way the defense started, abandon the run. It's not going to help us. We got to throw the football. I think he panicked a little bit. So I think Sark's patience, whatever you determine is the best means you have to move the football, whatever your offensive plan is, you can't panic and deviate from it. When Sark is at his best, it's when he's patient and really sticks to his plan.
That's a great point. I think when he's at his worst is when he gets wrapped up in the game and he starts just calling plays off the cuff with the flow of the game. And I understand once in a while you have to do that, but I've said this before. You studied your opponent and your staff all got together and decided that this is how we're going to attack them because we've seen them enough. I'm sober-minded. I'm not emotionally involved. This is what the facts are. This is what we have to do and why we have to do it. And then you get into the game and it just seems like, bam, just abandon the run completely and just start calling off the cuff passes. And I think that he's certainly not at his best then. It's exactly what you said. When he's calm, when he's patient, and he sticks to the plan. That's a great point.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for joining us. Of course,
you bet.
We'll see you at some point this week. I know for sure.
It's game time, baby.
Welcome, Bob.
See you guys.
Oh, man. Always a good time with Coach Shipley on here.
Man, everybody's going to have their, football game. A lot of people are going to have your backyard football game at your Thanksgiving dinner. Who are you drafting first in the Shipley family turkey bowl? Who are you drafting first?
Jordan. That's easy. That's a question. That's actually not a tough question. Jordan, done. I know. My point. It'll be a good game, but Jordan's a dude. His GOAT status here in Texas. That's GOAT stuff. Come on now.
I don't know, man. Rod, you get coached in one of those backyard football games. That old man strength is something different. Old man strength is something different.
Coach be playing all-time quarterback. Coach. He's got them getting them youngsters ready to go. All right, let me tell you real quick about our friends over at Cash App, folks, because scammers know the holidays are busy for everyone, which can make us all targets for scams. That's why Cash App builds in protections to help keep your money safe while you're checking off your shopping list. If you're about to send money to someone for a deal that's too good to be true and Cash App flags it as a potential scam, they'll warn you before you even send the money. That's beautiful. Cash App also gives you an extra layer of protection, which features like security lock. You can require a PIN, Face ID, or fingerprint to unlock your account and move money. So even if someone gets a hold of your unlocked phone at a holiday party, your money is right where you left it, safe and sound. Give yourself some peace of mind this holiday season and download Cash App for a limited time only. How about this? The new Cash App customers can use this exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download the Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, that's secure10, you see it right there on your screen in your profile, and send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial institution, financial services platform, not a bank, but banking services provided by Cash App's bank partner. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Incorporated brand. Visit Cash App. Cash.app /legal/podcast for full disclosures. Thank you very much to our friends over at Cash App. Also, this holiday season, if you are interested in getting someone a home run gift, our friends are at Omaha Steaks. They are unrivaled in terms of their quality and variety. Every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. The cyber sale is the perfect time to shop for unforgettable items, exclusive limited time deals, and more. Plus, orders placed by 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they ship the same day. So when you give Omaha Steaks, you're sending more than just a gift. You're sending an experience, folks. From the moment it arrives to the moment they enjoy it, they'll be thinking of you. Take the stress out of gifting. A gift of handcrafted perfection is the kind of gift that brings people together, and you don't have to know anyone's size with Omaha Steaks. 5 generations of uncompromising quality backed by an unconditional 100% money back guarantee. All right, nobody's offering you that but our friends over at Omaha Steaks. So save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an extra $35 off, use the promo code ONTexas at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code ONTexas at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Thank you very much to our friends over at Omaha Steaks.
And Jeff, if you'll tell us about Ridge this morning as well, it would be much appreciated. And you're muted, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
Is this like when you need to put like a quarter in the swear jar? Sorry guys, I can't find my read. Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet is made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. Show your Ridge. Ridge 2.0 is out. They got over 50 colors and styles to choose from. You can even get a wallet that features every NFL, MLB, or college team. We got the Texas Ridge Wallet up there. These things are really good. They're durable. They're sturdy. They're perfect for holiday gifting, especially since Ridge is having their biggest sale of the year right now. Plus, all Ridge wallets have a new industry-leading built-for-life warranty. So even if your wallet is lost or stolen, they've got you covered. Does it give you peace of mind knowing that Ridge wallets have RFID blocking technology, keeping you safe from digital pickpocketers? Over 100,000 five-star reviews. That's proof that Ridge Wallet is a gift people love to receive. Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, their game-changing power banks, all built with the same sleek, durable design. You'll find the perfect gift on every wish list. Losing your wallet is the worst, but with the Ridge tracker card, you'll always know exactly where it is. But before panic mode kicks in, perfect peace of mind for holiday travel and gifting. Give the gifts that stay out of the junk drawer and find their way into morning routines, travels, and adventure. For a limited time, Ridge is having their huge Black Friday sale. Head to RIDG.com. Get up to 47% off your order. This is by far the biggest discount they've given all year. That's Ridge.com for up to 47% off your order during their biggest sale of the year. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that our show sent you to Ridge.com.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Gotta love the Ridge Wallet. I'm a big believer. I love what they sent me. Good stuff. Good stuff for sure. Matt, I did not mute Jeff on purpose.
No, I wish I could blame Blake. It's too like it's just because I'm working with Blake. Like that's the only reason. Like ask Riley. We did the Sunday live stream. I wasn't muted. I do the Tuesday and the Wednesday live streams with CJ and Amanda. It's not a problem until I'm working with Blake. So I know there may be something fishy going on back there.
Happens to Bobby too. So it's not just you. Oh, man. All right, guys. We got more super chats this morning. Rocky P here says, y'all up early this morning. I feel like this game is going to be a Cade Phillips coming out party. I see one interception and disruptive plays in the short game.
I love it. I hope it is. I mean, I love the youth movement, though. I mean, the coaches, I think, decided, there's certain traits that we've been trying to coach up for these guys. And instead of trying to coach up some of these traits in these older guys, we need to let these younger guys who we recruited what we couldn't coach in these younger guys, right? We recruited length. We recruited, straight line speed. We recruited long rangey DBs. We recruited coverage specialists, guys who are ball hawks, who make plays on the ball. Let them play. And I think that's why you're starting to see, Cade Phillips have his, first start of the season. Jonah Williams is playing a little bit more. They played that quarter package too, outside of, in the quarter package, it's a 7 DB package, by the way. They've been playing this recently with 7 DBs out there with Jonah Williams as the high free safety.
Mm-hmm.
And they played that outside of third down. Usually it had been kind of just like NASCAR, right? They played on third down, NASCAR dime and NASCAR quarter. They played it on some first and second downs against Arkansas. Now, maybe it's because maybe the injuries they had, Mike Washington at one point went out and came back in, and then Taylor Green. So maybe they figured we just need, speed on the field. I'm not sure matchup wise what it was. Maybe they were caught on the field with it. I'm not, and it didn't seem like that. It seemed like there was time for them to make this substitution, and they went with it situationally. So I wonder if you'll see it against A&M, even outside of just the third down, you'll see them play the 7 DB package, which, you don't have a lot of spies. You're going to, if Anthony Hill doesn't play, you're going to be down a spy. Well, 2, because Anthony Smith ain't playing. So you're going to be down a spy regardless. That's big in this game because Marcel Reed, he's more of he's better on scrambles than he is on design runs. He's averaging over 8 yards per rush on scrambles. He's averaging, a little under 5 yards per rush on design runs. So it's the scrambles where he really kind of breaks teams' backs with his scrambling ability. And Texas needs spies to kind of neutralize that threat. They're going to be down some of those. Your DBs actually become your best spies once you lose Anthony Hill or Anthony Smith, guys like that. Yeah. Trey Moore's pretty good at it, but they can outrun Trey Moore. I love Trey Moore. You can outrun Trey Moore to the corner.
Yeah, Trey Moore is definitely somebody I want attacking the line of scrimmage and not dropping in coverage so much. And I think, part of me thinks, right, because we've seen them pull out the 3 safety stuff before. Like they did it last year in the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State. We did it a little bit last year. The quarters package, I think that was more to me, that's more trying to compensate for the loss of Anthony Hill, just trying some things out and trying to see what worked. Hopefully you've got Ant Hill back, but Rod, the 3 safety idea, the concept of it against a team like A&M, it is a package that can work because you've got, again, that middle field safety. He can serve as an extra spy. Sometimes you can sling run fits a little bit, kind of discombobulate their run game. If that middle field safety reads it right, he's an extra defender that maybe the quarterback doesn't account for, or the running back, especially if it's a zone run, if it takes a little longer to develop, that middle field safety can be an extra hat in the run game. So it's just, who do you want to be that middle field safety if you're PK, and how do you plan on using him? I mean, is it Michael Taff? And Michael Taff is I've got him circled this week because he even admitted it yesterday. Like, that was not his best game that he's played by far at Texas. As a matter of fact, the Arkansas game, it may be the worst game we've seen from Michael Taff, at least in a long time. So this being his last game at DKR, I think he'll definitely want to put a better foot forward. I would expect a much better product on the field from Michael Taff on Friday than what we saw on Saturday against Arkansas. But, in theory, Rod, Jelani McDonald, to me, with his athleticism and his instincts, he's like if you want to run some 3 safety, he's like the perfect middle field safety.
Yeah, I mean, they run 3 high with Grayson Littleton in there. I mean, Littleton, they'll run the inverted Tampa look with him in there and essentially run a 3 high scheme with Grayson Littleton as the other safety. They've done that before. When they run their big nickel with put 3 safeties on the field, which they also have done. I'm with you. Without Anthony Hill or without Anthony Smith, that could be a great, kind of counter for Texas, or a great solution to throw out there. Is that let's just have Jelani McDonald as that kind of a middle field safety with 3 safeties out there with a big nickel package and run that 3 high against the Aggies. I'm not opposed to that, and have him lurking as a guy that could help you down in the box or something like that. OG Slingblade need PK to unleash the hounds. Reed will fold. Yeah, you can do that. You got to stop the run first. You got to stop the run if you want to unleash the hounds. You gotta stop. You gotta stop the run. You got more. And by the way, that Taylor Green first half against that what Taylor Green and Mike Washington did in that first half against Texas, guarantee you, Colin Klein's like he's licking his chops, like, okay, zone read option, baby. No Anthony Hill, no Ty Anthony Smith. Let's go. So better be ready to stop that zone read option. They coming at it. I guarantee you're gonna see it. You might see it in the first 5 to 6 plays just to see if Texas is figuring anything out about it. I'd throw it out there. And now you know what I do? A tight end delay off of it too. We're going to leak the tight end because I know you've been having issues with the tight end. So you also better be ready to stop the tight ends. And what did I tell you about the Arkansas tight ends? I told y'all, Arkansas tight ends, they're about to eat. What did Arkansas tight ends do? 150 yards receiving for the tight ends. Best game both of them ever had. You better figure out the tight end issue before you play the Aggies. Better.
No doubt.
And maybe that's why they went with the quarter skills. Like, let's put DBs on these damn tight ends. That way we ain't got to worry about the coverage issues. But I'm not sure. But I don't know why the tight end issue it's been ugly the last 5 games for Texas.
Yeah, there's a couple things here. One, Rod, we were talking about the secondary. It just kind of shows you what kind of a transition you're in. Do you know Cade Phillips is already tied for the team leading pass breakups this year?
That's why he's got to play.
Right.
You know? And yeah, I think Grayson Littleton like second or
they're tied. They both got 5. And so yeah. So those guys, and Grayson Littleton's been on the field since the start of the year, but yeah, I'm with you, Rod. It's time you're at that point where, hey man, if the freshman is giving you as much or more than the veteran, if I'm Mark Orfe, PK, whoever, I'm going to invest my time in the freshman at this point because you're going to get Cade Phillips back next year. I'm going to let him get calloused up a little bit, let him take his lumps. Now, where the Texas defense is right now, it kind of reminds me a little bit of where the defense was at the end of 2021. Or right, if you go back to Sark's first year, especially like that K-State game where you remember Will Howard had like the 75-yard touchdown run, and then a lot of the veterans that were on the field for that was for some of them, that was the last play they played as Longhorns. And I started to realize, I remember being in the press box of the K-State game thinking, man, this defense is better. Like Janae Barron keeps getting better the more he plays. Jalen Ford keeps getting better the more snaps he gets. The more snaps Byron Murphy gets, he's a better player. And 2 years later, you're in the CFP semifinals with those 3 guys as 3 of your core players on defense. So I think with Cade Phillips, Jonah Williams, Grant Littleton's been in there the whole year. Justice Terry, another guy. I think you're going to see just more and more of those guys as we go forward here. But yeah, I think too, you talking about Colin Klein maybe running more design runs and more tight end delays than maybe he's used to. It kind of reminds me of, if you go back to 2018, remember when Maryland ran the jet sweep and just abused Texas with the jet sweep? And we even said, right, hey, I don't care if you have jet sweep in your playbook. If you're a Texas opponent, put it in there and run it until they prove they can stop it. It's kind of where I'd be with if I'm Colin Klein. Hey, I may not have a bunch of concepts that get the tight end involved where he's the number 1 read, or even, if I'm looking something off and going back to him if it's designed for the tight end. But you know what? Until Texas proves they can stop it, I'm going to run it.
Yep. Hey, but guys, I'm not reporting anything about Anthony Hill. I was just saying whether you have him or not. Like, I don't know. Either way, they're gonna run your tight end. You're gonna have to be very, very aware of where the tight ends are. That's my point. But I don't know if Anthony Hill's playing or not. I have no idea. I know Ty Anthony Smith won't be there for the first half, and we are still up in the air. It'll be a game time decision. There's no way you'll find out about Anthony Hill's status before the game.
Yeah.
Playing or not, like that wouldn't make any sense. So it's gonna be a game time decision no matter what it is. You'll hear about it an hour or 2 before the game.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's see here. I tell you what. Let's read these 2 supers from Guy. Thank you, Guy. His first one says, "Our fans have got to be a factor. We've got to create a real home field advantage. Let's rock DKR." And then Guy also said, Sark has said before, it's easier to scheme against a good disciplined defense versus a defense where players are out of position.
Yeah, he has said that multiple times. And all I keep thinking about with that is Georgia. And Georgia's very disciplined. He has not really cracked that nut. I know he says that, but I think what he means by that is what Sark does is he does all of these little cheat codes to kind of figure out what the rules of your defense are. And if he figures out the rules of your defense, then he's going to violate those rules, right? He's going to violate them over and over again and put your guys in conflict with those rules. And I just made for Georgia. He just doesn't, he doesn't know the rules. Like he hadn't figured out what the rules are. And usually throughout a game or either in his preparation and game planning, he's able to, I know what the rules of this defense. I know how they're going to address. I know how they're going to defend trips. I know how they're going to defend a bunch formation. I know exactly what they're going to do when they're in quarters and you run a sail route against them. He knows all that stuff. And maybe against Kirby, he doesn't. But I know exactly what he's saying. So the Aggies have a pretty disciplined defense. I mean, it's a pretty disciplined defense. I think you can get big plays on the Aggies that we've talked about. That's going to be Sark's calling card. He's got to generate big explosive plays and try to stay out of third down. They are the best third down defense in the country. And kind of like the Oklahoma was really good. This very much mirrors the Oklahoma game. They put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback, top 5 in the country in sacks like Oklahoma. Really good situational third down defense like Oklahoma was. And then Texas was able to run the football against them. They protected really well, and they were able to win on third down versus Oklahoma. So crazy things happen in rivalry games. I agree with Coach on that. Like this, you can throw the stats and all that out. Wild stuff happens in rivalry games, as we have seen. We're witness to that.
We're going to get to more of y'all's questions in just a moment. But first, I need to tell everyone about Prize Picks, because we make decisions daily. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid, and it's simple. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get those picks right, you can cash in, win up to 2,000 times your money, and it's the best way to get in on the sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and right here in the great state of Texas. And Texas fans, Prize Picks has some specials for the Lone Star Showdown on Friday. Arch Manning just needs 1 passing touchdown. They have Jack Endries only needing 19.5 receiving yards. Trey Wisner only needs 49.5 rushing yards. Ryan Wingo, they also have at 49.5, but obviously that's receiving yards. And then Mason Shipley just needs 2.5 PATs made. So they got a ton more as well. You can go get on those before Friday's big game. Of course, they got all the games here in Rivalry week. So make your own picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And I'm also going to let you know about Huel. I love me some Huel. That's Huel. You ever have those mornings where you're running out the door, no time for breakfast? That was me pretty much every day. But now with Huel, that has changed. When you're running from getting the kids off to school to working out to even doing coffee and football, having a full meal in under 30 seconds is huge. For me, it means more focus, steadier energy, and none of those hangry mornings that used to sneak up on me. Plus, it's packed. 35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no added sugar, it's gluten-free, and it's under $5 a meal. I've also added their daily greens ready to drink to my routine. Today, I'm actually going to have peach. It's smooth, it's light, and it's way better than any greens drink I have tried. It's only 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, and 1 gram of sugar. Huel really does make healthy eating simple, and they just rolled out into Target stores nationwide. Today, you can get Huel for 15% off as a new customer with code ONTEXAS at Huel.com/ONTEXAS. That's Huel, Huel.com/ONTEXAS. Afterwards, they're going to give you a post-checkout survey. Use the code and then tell them that On Texas Football sent you. And Jeff, if you'll tell everyone about Kirby Lane this morning.
That Huel read, Blake, I think it has me thankful that you're getting your fiber. So good for you. But hey, Kirby Lane, all-day cafe. It's been an Austin institution since 1980. Everybody loves Kirby Lane with the local vibe. The late-night pancakes everybody knows and loves. Now dinner is where they're raising the bar. Bold, chef-driven entrees like steak frites, Mediterranean chicken, and their famous queso and shareable plates, plus a full line of gluten-free options. And the bar, that's stocked with craft cocktails that deliver. Kirby Lane is the Austin original for a night out with real flavor. And hey, those pecan pie pancakes that Bobby and I had during the tailgate show on Saturday, top notch. Check out the full dinner lineup tonight at KirbyLaneCafe.com. Go new school, old school, whatever you go, just make sure you go to Kirby Lane All Day Cafe.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Let's jump right back into some more super chats this morning, fellas. Let's see here. We got Arnold. He says, Rod, do you think that Arch is influencing the opponent's coverage with his eyes at this point? I think over the last 4 games, he has.
That is, I think you're right about that, actually. That's a good point. And moving defenders with your eyes, right? Because I mean, a lot of second level, third level defenders are taught reading the quarterback's eyes and the subtle movements of the quarterback. A couple of those big plays against Arkansas, the pump fake now is something that he's using a lot more. Kind of the body language, knowing exactly how to influence defenders with his body language. I thought he did a great job in that Georgia game of moving defenders, working in the pocket. Remember the jerk route to it was your longest play of the game, to Emmett Mosley, and how he is able to maneuver in the pocket. I think that's what's also become a weapon for him, is his ability to just maneuver in the pocket and not also abandon it. He's great on the scramble drill. We've talked about that, but he's buying time in the pocket too. Now, just in very subtle movements in the pocket to give himself just a little bit of space and a little bit more time so that he can make those throws. So I'm with you. The level of the expedited development, right? And the rate of development in the last 4 games has been phenomenal. It really has been. Like, he has really now shown, this is kind of what everybody thought he was going to be to start this season. We just got it after like Jeff said, after a lot of reps, and he needed the reps. That's one thing that we just underestimated was, no, man, you need the reps. You got to get the reps. He hadn't had enough reps. We just saw the flashes last year, but now with reps, teams also have a blueprint of how your weaknesses and strengths and how they want to attack you and defend you. But also you as a player, what we can't account for, no defensive coordinator can, is how much you improve from game to game. Like, damn, and the Aggies can't account for that either. He might come out there in the zone and we might see him at his apex. There's no question you need the best version of Arch to win that game.
I mean, we've seen it before on the other side, right? Like, the best example was, Michael Penix is a good quarterback, but that Sugar Bowl, man, he was the best quarterback on the planet that night. Like, he played just out of his mind. And similar to that, it took the absolute best version of Michael Penix for Washington to beat Texas to get into the national championship game. I'm with you, Rod. It's going to take that version of Arch. But, we talked about this a little bit on the Sunday live stream, Rod, and I've been thinking about this too with Arch. And I only use Sam Ehlinger as a frame of reference just because Sam is the last Texas quarterback that we've been able to kind of track and watch his development. And we did with Quinn, but Arch, where Arch is right now, really reminds me, and with Quinn it was tough because, right, as we pointed out, Quinn, because of the injuries and everything, Quinn never really had that stretch of multiple games where you could watch it build.
Great point.
Where Arch is right now really reminds me of where Sam was early in that 2018 season. Like, he's coming off of 17 where he made some freshman mistakes. That Maryland game I referenced earlier, sorry to bring it up again, but like, he had some turnovers in the game. But the USC game, it was one of those games, I think he was 16-33, but he hung in the pocket. He took some shots. And then by the time, you got to the Oklahoma game where he really became a master of the screen game. And that's when you started seeing stuff like, go back and watch the Arch touchdown to DeAndre Moore, where he looks over and he doesn't pump fake. It's just kind of a little shoulder fake to the bubble screen. And then he hits DeAndre Moore on the backside. That was right around the time we started seeing Sam doing that stuff. We're like, okay, like, he's getting it. You see the game slowing down. But to your point, Rod, that's what it's all about. It's about those banking reps and doing it consecutively. Like, thank goodness Arch has been on the field. He hasn't missed any time. Even, at the end of the Mississippi State game, when he went into concussion protocol, he was able to come back against Vanderbilt and played lights out against Vanderbilt. So I love the fact that we're able to watch Arch's development, kind of see him evolve on the fly. It really reminds me kind of, again, where Sam was early in that 2018 season.
Yeah.
Drew Lockhart here with the super chat, fellas. He says, good morning, gentlemen. How do we attack the Aggie defense? How does their secondary match with our receivers? Do you see our offensive line holding up?
I think you have to go pass first. I mean, their corners actually have played pretty well. Des Ricks, I probably would attack the nickel, maybe Tyreek, Chappelle, I believe.
Oh yeah. Will Lee's become a pretty good corner too.
And Will Lee's come pretty good too. They don't make a lot of plays on the ball though. I mean, they don't have a lot of interceptions as a team, period. But Will Lee has, I think, 6 PBUs, but he has allowed 4 touchdowns. And Chappelle, the yak yards stood out to me. I think 57% of the yards he's allowed have been yak yards, 71% catch rate against Chappelle. So, I mean, I think you can start your offenses out kind of targeting some of those guys, but for Sark, he needs to generate explosive plays. Like there's no way around that. I gave the stat earlier. I think Texas A&M has allowed 32 explosive pass plays. That's 20 plus yards. 17 of those have come in their 4 games where they've been within one score of an opponent they beat. So that's your Notre Dame game, the Arkansas game, the South Carolina game, the Auburn game. I should throw that out the sample size because they only really had one explosive play. I should throw that out. But still, that's half of your explosive pass plays you've allowed have come in 3 games: Notre Dame, Arkansas, South Carolina. And I don't think those guys have quarterbacks. And Taylor Green's a damn good quarterback too, so I'm gonna hate on that. And then Lenore Sellis was one of the more explosive quarterbacks as well. But Arch has been playing. He's playing at a really high level right now. If you can hit some explosive plays, and they don't have to all be down the field, because Arkansas didn't hit a lot of deep explosive plays. They were just yak explosive plays. And so maybe I think that's got to be the formula. You got that because they're the best third down defense in the country, and they have a really exotic third down pressure package. They can really get after the opposing quarterback. They're the best pass rush, arguably, outside of Oklahoma in the country. I would try to stay away, and I know pass rush is an issue, but I would try to stay away from third downs and third and longs with them. I would lead with the pass, man. You know what you're good at. They asked Sark about the run game, and what'd he say? We're gonna do whatever we got to do to win that game. They asked him, are you gonna stick with the run game versus A&M? We're gonna do whatever we got to do to win that game. And I couldn't respect the man more for saying it. You're at the 12th game of the season. Why the hell are you going to try to be a great running team? You can run the ball, but you can't lead with the run. You're not going to lead with the run against A&M, in my opinion, like you did last year. I think you got to lead with the pass. This is a different team.
Plus A&M knows what you are. Everybody knows what you are. Like it's all about, we talked about it on the Sunday last year, Rod. At this point, it's not about, hey, can we establish run? No, it's about tendency breakers. And Sark mentioned it yesterday. Hey, it's using all the tools you've got in your toolbox, all those cheat codes, the force multipliers, everything we talk about that makes Sark's offense special. You got to pull it all out against Texas A&M. So I like the fact that he's not trying to throw the wool over our eyes. Like we know the run game isn't great. He knows the run game isn't great. Mike Elko knows your run game isn't great. So why try to sugarcoat it or give coach speak? It is what it is at this point. There's 2 things I want to touch on, Blake. I know we're getting down to the end, but Rod talking about the receiver group. CJ mentioned this, and I agree with him. I think DeAndre Moore is the key to this whole thing, because if you look at how the receiver group is set up, like Ryan Wingo has become your screen merchant, your yak guy. Like you want to get him the ball in space and let him work. If Parker Livingston's getting the ball, chances are it's going to be something vertical, something down the field, or one of those, deep in breaking routes, those deep stops, deep comebacks, those NFL throws outside the numbers that Arch likes to make. The guys that are going to be able to do their damage in the intermediate game, it's Emmett Mosley and DeAndre Moore. And DeAndre Moore, I know he was injured early in the year. You haven't really gotten him involved in the flow of the game, but the 2 games that really stand out for him, you got him involved against Oklahoma and you got him involved against Arkansas. I'd really like to see them get DeAndre Moore involved, right? Because if you are going to attack the nickel, DeAndre Moore and Emmett Mosley, I think, are the 2 guys that can do it. And I just want to go back to I know quarterback development. We could spend a whole 24 hours on the channel talking about quarterback, and it wouldn't be enough time. But I like what Marcus says here. They're talking about quarterback development. Said it truly is different on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes the light comes on further into the season for some, and for others not till their 2nd or 3rd year in a program. And Sark mentioned this yesterday with Arch. I mean, like, look, yeah, he went through his struggles early in the season, but he kept plugging away. He kept working, and it's a tribute to how resilient you are. That's why, I mean, it's worth reinforcing, man. You don't really know for sure what you've got at quarterback until that guy steps across the chalk line and the bullets are live and he's got to react. And there were times earlier this year. That's why I'm not going to poo-poo what Arch did against Arkansas. It's against the terrible defense. Right. Go back and watch the San Jose State game and the UTEP game. And even at times against Sam Houston, like Arch is a very different quarterback now than he was earlier in the season. He's evolved. He's developed. He's grown. So I don't think we need to lose sight of that. And again, just to reiterate, like, let's not go, we can go revisionist history if we want on Texas quarterbacks, but Colt McCoy as a sophomore, I think it was 22 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. mean, you had some transition on the offensive line. Lima Swede was hurt most of the year. It took Colt some time to become the guy. There were people in Austin, in the Austin media market, openly campaigning, maybe Vince Young should move to receiver. Like, that happened. I remember it. It took VY some time to get it figured out. So it took Arch a little bit of time to get it figured out. But I think right now we're seeing that incline. You know, you realize, Rod, I went back and looked at this. He's the first Texas quarterback since Colt in 2009, towards the end of the 2009 season, to have 300-yard passing games in a 4-game stretch. And Texas had some pretty good quarterback play at times between the end of Colt's tenure and where Arch is now. So he's playing it at a really high level. And that's you brought it up too. And I love this point, Rod. That's the one thing that Mike Elko and that defensive staff, they can't compensate for. You may have a good game plan, but if Arch continues to ascend, and whether it's his athleticism, his anticipation, whatever it is, if he can break down your game plan, then it doesn't really matter what you drew up that week.
Well, we have one more super chat, fellas, from Slick Rick. Thank you, Slick. He says, why didn't Phillips and Terry get more playing time in early games? If I'm Sark, I'm questioning our position coaches' evaluations. We didn't even know our talent till the last 2 games. And then Slick says, that's unacceptable.
Rod, I'll let you speak on Cade Phillips. Justice Terry is different, because if you're putting Justice Terry in the game, who are you taking off the field? That means you're taking reps away from Ethan Burke. You're going to take reps away from Colin Simmons. You're going to take reps away from, same thing with Lance Jackson. So you just had to, and plus, man, to me, and I'll never disrespect the position Rod played on the 40, because he played it at a very high level, but it's probably easier to make that transition corner. A high school guy coming to this level in the SEC, playing on the defensive line, you can't quantify the difference in size, speed, athleticism, physicality that you're going from the trenches in a high school level to the SEC. So it's going to take your defensive lineman a little more time. But Rod, if you want, I'll let you expand on Cade Phillips.
Yeah, I think if Texas played, back in my day, I think it was if Texas played like a lot of man-to-man, I think you'd have probably seen them on the field sooner. There's less of, less mentally challenging, if you will. It's just man-to-man. It's more about your technique, then it's more about your frame and your physical attributes. But playing a lot of zone, which Texas does, route concepts, you're looking at the route, looking at the way the routes develop, and Texas playing a lot of pattern match zone and being able to pass off routes in coverage and read routes on the move, switch routes and switch releases. Sometimes I think that takes a little bit longer, because in high school, I'm sure Cade was playing a lot of man-to-man. Why wouldn't he? He's a freak of nature. So I think that would be the case. But now I think Texas wants to play a little bit more man-to-man. So that's helping. And also I do think they were a little disappointed in a couple of the veterans who they assumed were going to take a leap. I thought they assumed Gilbo would take a leap. Maybe not like Janae Barron, but that he would, kind of take on that corner spot. And so basically he would, boss hog that corner spot. Like, he would take it and it would be, Gilbo is not a liability out there corner, because teams are going to attack him because they're not attacking Manny Muhammad. They're going to attack him, and that he go out there and end up making a lot of plays. Instead, teams kept attacking him, and he was giving up way too much yardage. And then on top, I think when they got frustrated, was not the fact that he got beat. And like I said, you can't really get mad at DB if you get beat. You're going to get beat. I think the mental lapses and busted coverages is ultimately where the coach was like, nah, you got to go, man. You're a veteran. You might as well put the freshman out there to bust some coverages and get beat. You getting beat and you busting coverages and you ain't making plays on the ball. All right. That's 3 strikes and you're out. Like, put the youngster out there and let's see if he busts some coverages. We'll see. We can live with that. That's growing pains, because you as a veteran should already been past that. But not only that, young bucks making plays on the ball. So that's one check above you. All right. And he ain't busting coverages. That's another check on you. So I think ultimately that's what the coaches went with. We're going to go with the youth movement then, because if we got the older guys out there, remember, that's what happened in the last few games. The busted coverages thing came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that came late in the season. It's like Vanderbilt. It's like, why are we busting coverages all of a sudden? That's crazy. You didn't see a lot of that last year, and you didn't see a lot of that early on this year. Guys getting beat, that's fine. Busting coverages, guys running wide open in free throw secondary. No. That's an abomination. And that's why the coaches were like, all right, vets, y'all got to go. Youngsters, as long as y'all can go out there and just not bust coverages and make plays on the football, we'll go with the youth movement. And I think ultimately that was the last straw, guys. It's like, hell no, you out. I would did the same thing. The coach of Keenan I know, and it was like, busting coverages. All right, we're making some changes. Somebody about to get benched. That's the coach of Keenan I know. You busting coverages, we about to bench somebody. I don't know who's going to be. We used to walk in the DB room, and we would sit according to our status. So starters in the front, backups behind them, third string behind them. Coach Keenan walking there some days ago. You're in the wrong seat. Oh, boom! Make the change. Yeah, we got him starting this week.
Rod walking in the room. Irvis Hill, get out of my chair.
Nobody say that. That made you should be a little nervous walking in that room if you had a bad game.
Yeah,
and that served as a reminder to me. So I'm glad that they made a move in the secondary. You can't be busting coverages, man. That's especially for veterans unacceptable.
Yeah. And that's why Rod's one of the best analysts doing this, is what he just laid out. And I think we need to take to heart what Rod just said. And we're talking about the arch conversation. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for a player to get in a position where the coach trusts him. Look, we would all love it to be as obvious as it was, like with Bijan as a freshman. We're like, oh no, he's like, everybody can see except Tom Herman. Like, he needs to be getting carries and he needs to be carrying the load, and like he needs to be the guy. Like, he's clearly like maybe the best player on the field as a freshman. We'd love it to be that obvious, but Bijan's a freak. Like, it's not always that obvious. It takes a little bit of time.
That's true.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by Texas.
Like, I think we have one more super that came in.
Don't want to miss that.
Oh, yeah, we sure do. Thank you, Jeff. What's the best defense that Reed has faced? I can actually answer this because I was looking it up for a graphic I was making for OTF. And Missouri is technically the best defense they've faced. They were number 7 in passing defense and number 13 in rushing defense. So there's your answer. Statistic.
From a talent standpoint, either Missouri or LSU, but we know LSU's offense is the drizzling you-know-whats. Yeah. So they could not play complimentary football at all.
Yeah. I think their offense actually has been tested. I think their defense actually is the one that some people don't believe their defense has been truly tested yet. But I think their offense actually has been tested pretty well with some. I mean, Auburn, like I said, Auburn's a good defense, and Mizzou, LSU. Hell, Notre Dame's not a bad defense either.
Yeah. Look at Blake getting his fiber and looking up total defense statistics.
It's been a morning, Jeff. It's been a morning. Don't forget the women's volleyball tonight for the SEC championship. They'll be playing Kentucky after beating Texas A&M last night. So a big win for them, and hopefully a big win tonight. And of course, Rod, Jeff, thank you for filling in today. It's the first time we've never had Bobby and Jerry on Coffee and Football, so it was definitely different. But we'll see if they're back. I know Bobby will be back tomorrow, and also I want to mention that we'll have Billy Lucci of Texags joining us tomorrow morning on Coffee and Football. So hopefully Jerry will be back for that, because I'm sure Jerry will bring the goods.
Hey, y'all be nice in the chat. Don't get us like deplatformed or y'all be nice in the chat. Mind yourselves.
For real.
Oh, well, a big shout out to Texas Road, Prize Picks, Huel, Kirby Lane, Ridge Wallet, Omaha Steaks, and Cash App for sponsoring today's show. Thank you all for tuning in. And for Jeff Howe and Rod Babers, I'm Blake Monroe, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Look up.